My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm 16 years old. I come from Sweden, and I want you to panic.
I'm not sure when it happened, but at some point in the last 20 years or so, adults appear to have lost any awareness of the developmental differences between themselves and children. Now, obviously I don't mean the superficial physiological differences between grown-up bodies and kids' bodies. I'm talking about an appreciation of the difference in cognitive, emotional, and social maturity of the developing human being at the earliest stages of his or her life and that of the mature, fully responsible adult. Now, you don't have to be a student of Piaget or Maslow to know any of this. Until about 10 minutes ago, the chasm that separated the psyche of the immature, inexperienced, and still developing mind of a child and that of an adult was self-evident to most average people. Not only did direct observation make this blatantly obvious, but what was once known as common sense dictated that human beings who are essentially fresh out of the oven are not going to have the capacity for insight, discernment, personal autonomy, self-awareness, judgment, wisdom, and comprehension that a fully mature adult would have.
Climate change is already affecting millions of lives. I don't understand why there are world leaders that are not doing anything.
Sea levels are rising, and so are we. Sea levels are rising, and so are we. No more coal, no more coal.
Now, it should be obvious to anyone that childhood is a period of extreme vulnerability. This is why adults, at least until very, very recently, have always regarded the physical and psychological protection of children to be a primary duty. Children are just as vulnerable, if not more so, to adult influence, coercion, and manipulation as they are to physical harm.
What does it say?
Mother Nature is crying.
I'm here. I brought my daughter, who's a climate activist. She was there Wednesday to greet Greta, and she's very concerned about the environment and the fact that adults aren't doing anything. So she and I are here in solidarity with Greta.
Children lack autonomy, they lack the capacity to contextualize and evaluate what they are told. Even adults with far more life experience and resources to draw upon still find it challenging to evaluate complex personal, social, and political issues. If anything, it often appears that adults have been getting steadily worse at this over the past decade or two. Now, perhaps this is a clue as to why so many adults these days are so eager to confer authority to the opinions of children like Greta Thunberg. After all, we only give credence to the opinions of people we think of as intellectually equal to ourselves, if not smarter than us. It would therefore appear that what was once a self-evident chasm between the intellectual maturity of children and adults has narrowed within the last generation or two to the point of being almost indiscernible. And clearly, not because children are leaping over sequential stages of growth towards maturity, but rather that adults are failing to mature intellectually and emotionally much beyond the stage of adolescence themselves. And so, whereas grown men and women in previous generations couldn't help but be aware of the clear distinction between child and adult, what appears self-evident to adults of today is just how little there is that distinguishes themselves from children. This is going to get ugly.
Never okay.